My name is Rishi Maharaj. I'm the CEO of Disclosure today. And how we really got involved in this whole idea of not only sandals, but understanding the hotel stock in the country is due to an address that I think Afra gave in Tobago some time ago last year. And in that address, he highlighted some issues that at the time we thought were pertinent issues. I mean, we're talking about discussing a mega project here in the Sandals Hotel Resort. But the fact of the matter is we also have 3 hotels that exist, government-owned, big hotels, but have we really gotten any information as exactly how this hotel is done? Is there best practice? Are the lessons that have been learned that we can use going forward? And he raised many interesting questions that we thought were interesting enough that actually wasn't in the public domain. So together with Afra and some other stakeholders, we decided to deal with sending some freedom of information requests through the Freedom of Information Act to 4 different agencies. One being, yeah, I could, makes it easier. All right, so we actually sent in October of last year a freedom of information request to 4 major agencies, which Afra would have highlighted when he just spoke. One would have been the Ministry of Finance, the other would have been the Board of Inland Revenue, UDCOT, and ETEC. And what is interesting to note is that although we have 3 major hotels that are government constructed and form part of the government stock, be it Hilton, Trinidad and Tobago, the Margarita Grand in Tobago, and the Hyatt Hotel in Port of Spain, they're both managed by different entities, which is very intriguing. In that you don't have one entity that's in charge of looking at this whole hotel stock. So in terms of knowledge and experiences and stuff like that, they apparently are in different areas. One is in ETEC and one is in UDCOT, and based on what we've heard, it seems that another state enterprise would be developed or come on board to deal with sandals. So then you have different people in the ballpark playing with these different hotels. And the question of whether or not there's intermingling of information with discussions, that's exactly how this is going on. So, with regards to the Ministry of Finance and the Bureau of Inland Revenue, we sent some FOI requests. For the Ministry of Finance, we wanted to know, and Afra would have alluded to this in his presentation, whether any audit has been conducted in terms of hotels that we have in the country have been running for a while that form part of government revenue. Has any audit been done to understand exactly how these investments, because these are investments, our monies have been invested to be able to earn revenues for the population, for the government as a whole. Has any audit been done with regards to exactly how these investments are operating? Has any formal management review been done with regards to each hotel individually or on the hotel stock as a whole? And then, as Afra alluded to Board of Inland Revenue, we actually asked questions regarding to whether the correct amount of taxes, be it business levy, corporation tax, PAYE, were paid, and whether any investigations or queries into whether or not anybody has raised any issues as to whether or not these taxes were paid or whether any investigation was done by the Board of Inland Revenue. So this is the first interesting responses that we got from the Ministry of Finance. That's why I highlighted it in bold. And this is verbatim from the letter that we got from them. Please be informed that no such audit was conducted with respect to each hotel. So basically, from the Ministry of Finance, what we now understand is that Corporation Seoul, Ministry of Finance through the Corporation Seoul, has not conducted any audit or management review of any of the hotel stock we have in the country right now, which for us is kind of worrying, in that you have these billions of dollars invested. If you look at pool all 3 together, it's billions of dollars of invested public monies into this hotel stock that were constructed for a purpose of obviously return of investment, to be able to aid the government in whatever endeavors they want to get involved in. And no management review has ever been done, no audit into exactly how these entities function. And now we're looking at a new entity in terms of the Sandals Resort in Tobago. So are there any lessons learned? Apparently we have no lessons to be learned. And then from BIL, they refused our request under Section 21 and 23 of the Act, basically saying, of course, it's financial information, dealing with people's individual personal information and stuff like that. So because of that, we weren't be able to get the information. Obviously, we did specifically put in the request that we're not seeking financial information or people's personal information. All we want to know is a series of questions. Were these paid, yes or no? Were your corporation taxes paid, yes or no? Were your PAYEs paid, yes or no? Were any investigations done, yes or no? And they more or less flatly denied our requests. So then we turned, of course, our attention also to ETEC and to UDICOT. And the requests to both ETEC and UDICOT were basically similar. It just changes were made in terms of the names of the hotel. And it was a very lengthy request. I think it was about close to 3 separate pages, 3 separate requests. Basically, we saw the following information from ETEC and UDICOT with regards to both. From ETEC would have been the Magdalena Grand Hotel and the Hilton Hotel, and from UDICOT would have been the Hyatt Hotel. Wanted copies of all management contracts or agreement between the government of Trinidad and Tobago and parties managing the Magdalena, Hilton, and the Hyatt. We also wanted information within the report. So the way we structured these requests, well, one, we wanted the agreement. If for some reason you didn't want to give us the agreement, then we went into separate details in the other 2 requests into the agreement, okay? You don't want to give us the agreement, so we're going to ask for specific information relative to the agreement, and you can just pull out, extract, and give to us. And these are just some. I mean, I think in all, there are close to 18 different items that we have requested. Were there any provisions as to the share of the gross revenue to be retained for expenditure on repairs, maintenance, or refurbishment of the hotel properties in the agreements? What were the length of these contracts with the agreements? Are these in perpetuity, or there's a specific timeline for these contracts to run? What was the gross turnover for each establishment since its opening? Are there any provisions, or what provisions do we have in the hotels with regards to the sharing of revenue between parties to these contracts? And you just heard what Afra mentioned in regards to Hyatt, how because of certain things weren't put in place, that Hyatt didn't pay the government sums of money from 2008 to 2014. What was the actual share paid to the state or its agency by the hoteler? So what revenues did the state collect from these contracts? Obviously, it's state monies, public monies, if the state is going to be collecting it. So what revenue or what monies did the state make from these different hotels? Are there any provisions relating to the employment, training, and development of supervisory or management staff, as Afra would have alluded to in his presentation? I mean, we've had hotels here since 1962, so that's close to 50-something years of having the hotels. Hilton, big brands, Hilton, Hyatt. What has been the result in terms of training and skill and knowledge transfer from your understanding of running hotels to local staff, so that the local staff can now take that skill and management or use it to either run the hotel or to run other hotels in the country? Have you shared that knowledge, training and development? So we found quite humorous at times, the kind of responses that we actually got from these organizations. So this is ETEC now. So ETEC more or less told us that the documents that we were requesting were exempt documents in accordance with section 31.4.8.2 of the Act. The documents contain information of a business, commercial, or financial nature, and its disclosure would likely expose ETEC to a disadvantage. Well, I guess you'll have to explain the answer to that. We didn't actually buy it either. So I wouldn't go into this whole detail, but we more or less basically we went back to ETEC stating, well, listen, as far as we understand, these monies the hotels were built from public monies. Public monies were spent to be able to manage these hotels and use these hotels. And it's important to note also that ETEC is a state enterprise. And by being a state enterprise, you report to the Parliament through the PAEC, the Public Account Enterprises Committee, in terms of monies, expenditure, and stuff like that you would have earned. So while we understand your request in terms of denying our request, we submit that you probably reconsider exactly what you're telling us right now. So lo and behold, ETEC responded. And lo and behold, this is what they said: Hilton Hotel, there's an operational lease that actually deals with the Hilton Hotel. And it's registered in the register department as your registration number. If you can't take on the information, I'll give it to you afterwards if you don't get it all. So it's a public document that you can now go and get at the Registrar General's office. So why didn't they tell us this before? The initial response was to refuse. And then after we pushed them back, we got this information. And the lease, now this is the land lease, not the operational lease. For the Magdalena Grand is also a registered document, and it's in a deed, and that's the deed number up there in the Registrar General. However, the management agreement that exists between ETEC Vanguard and NAF, GM, and Associates, which is the international organization, I would assume, that's helped managing the hotel, is still exempt under the Act. So ETEC, although they've given us the operational lease for the Hilton Hotel. They're still refusing to give us information regards to the financial details of exactly what's going on, what revenues you've collected, how the revenues have been dispersed, and stuff like that. But if you think that's funny, wait till you hear about UDCUT. So UDCUT more or less responded to us and said, except for the 2.1, which was the bids that they used to be able to get the management, more or less said in order to get the management of the hotel after the hotel was built, they had a bid process, and different proposals were given to them. And then based on those proposals, whatever, they decided to choose a particular vendor to manage the hotel, which would have been hired. So except for that, which they gave us, the other information is exempt because of Section 31 and 33 of the Act. Again, they with commercial sensitivity, private information, not want to give all the information because it may have injured either the UDCUT or the international organization to which the information was loaded into the contract was with. So again, we hit them back with the same letter we sent to ETEC, more or less stating, well, we don't agree, obviously, because again, public monies, close to what, $500-something million was used to be able to construct the Hyatt Hotel. Again, public monies, UDCUT is a state enterprise, so you should be accounting to us and let us know exactly what's going on. So we don't agree. So again, we humbly resubmit for your reconsideration of Afra requests. Then this letter came, which I think just blew everyone out of the water. What they said was they cannot grant access to the management contract agreement because UDCUT is not in possession of such agreement. Now, first they exempted the agreement in the first letter, saying you can't get information exempt. Now they tell us, oh, well, sorry, no, to begin with, we don't have the agreement. And then with regards to the details you wanted in the contract, they said it was not clear which management contract or agreement we were referring to, and no such agreement is in UDCUT's possession. Fair enough? So we again issued another letter to UDCUT, more or less going into details exactly what we wanted in terms of if it's not UDCUT, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, or some subsidiary, because you're the ones managing the contract. So in case you want to know what we're looking for, that's exactly what we want. We want exactly whatever agreement that exists between the government of Trinidad and Tobago or its subsidiaries or agent to deal with the Hyatt Hotel and whatever subsidiary and agent of the Hyatt or the Hyatt International Hotel is managing the contract. Yes. Yes, we did. I think I got this. Okay, so this is UDCUT's response. It's vague and it's broad. And the Hyatt Hotel is not an entity which UDCUT has any contracts with. And they're still in discussion with the relevant undertakings to ascertain whether or not disclosure should occur in accordance with Section 31.3. Now, first of all, that's kind of confusing. First of all, they're telling us, you're still vague, we still don't understand exactly what you want. We don't have any agreement with Hyatt International regarding any contracts or agreements. But by the way, we're still in discussion with the relevant authority to ascertain whether or not we should disclose it in accordance with Section 31.3 of the Act. So what exactly are you saying? We don't understand exactly what you're saying. That's what they came back to us with. And, oh yeah, and point two was UDCUT is neither a subsidiary or an agency of the government. I don't think anybody here would agree that UDCUT is neither a subsidiary nor an agent of the government. I mean, as far as we are aware, they are a state enterprise that is 100% owned by the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And they report to the corporation sole, which is a functionary of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And they also report to the PAEC, which is the Public Account Enterprises Committee of the Parliament. So it's kind of vague for UDCUT to now come and say, by the way, we're not also a subsidiary or agency of the government. So we decided to pull some background information and research that we actually had in the back pocket, but we didn't let it go as yet. So this is the letter we sent to them, last letter, and we're still awaiting response from them on this. There's a joint select committee that was held in July of 2016 into UDCUT. And UDCUT's chairman, Noor Garcia, is quoted as saying on paragraph 54 of the report, as stated on the 2nd of May 2016, to queries from the opposition leader Wade Mack. I've bolded it so you all can see. And keep in mind the response that we got from UDCUT. Yes, there is a management agreement. Wow. Which we call the Hotel Management Agreement. We will make that available to the committee. So based on this information, we responded back to UDCUT saying, well, and we quoted this exact thing in the letter to UDCUT. stating, well, based on information in the public domain made by your chairman of the Joint Select Committee of Parliament, which is the People's Courthouse, more or less, that there is a management agreement, and more or less, that is the agreement that we want from you. And we also want them to clarify exactly, you're saying that you're in discussions with relevant undertakings in order to give us the information. Who are those relevant undertakings? We think we should know now, because you've brought that into the equation. Exactly who are you speaking to? Are you speaking to the government of Trinidad and Tobago? Are you speaking to Hyatt International? Who exactly are you speaking to in terms of getting this agreement? So you realize the amount of teeth pulling and resistance that we have encountered. And we haven't given up. We're still pursuing assiduously. But based on what we've been going through with regards to Ministry of Finance, Board of Inland Revenue, ETEC, and UDICAT, these are the kind of responses we've been getting to try to understand exactly how the hotel stock we have that the government has invested in this country is operating, and exactly is it working for us, and can we use that as lessons learned going forward in negotiating with Sandals International. And I'll pause at this point before I go to my last slide to highlight also right now issues that are being faced right now by another Caribbean country, Antigua, with regards to Sandals International. Just up to about 3 days ago, I got some information from the Observer Media in Antigua with regards to what's going on with that. And you would have probably seen in the public domain that Sandals is apparently looking to shut down for quote-unquote repairs for a particular period of 5 months. And as far as the Prime Minister of Antigua is concerned, Gaston Brong, the Honorable Gaston Brong, he considers that very hostile in terms of, and he's also made it public, although this has been rebutted by Sandals, but put it in the public domain, that there's actually been non-payment of tax revenues by Sandals to the government of Antigua. And that some of the concessions that they have been given to Sandals over the period of time that has been there can no longer be extended, and that it now goes all the way to hold them to ransom, because Antigua is one of the biggest hotels Sandals is one of the biggest hotels in Antigua right now. I've actually been there. It's a pretty nice hotel. I can't admit it's a nice hotel. But the problem with Sandals in Antigua is that once you go in Sandals in Antigua, you really don't want to come out, because everything is there for you. There's no reason to come out of the Sandals. You go to the hotel, you go to the airport, taxi picks you up at the hotel, carries you straight to Sandals, and anyway, taxi picks you up at Sandals, carries you back to the hotel. So why should I leave the comforts of Sandals? So it's a problem going on right now with regards to Antigua and Sandals, and I think there's something that the government should be cognizant of. And there are also issues regarding concessions and Barbados and Sandals. So these are issues that we need to know. So what do we know so far, more or less, then, coming out of these interrogations into the Ministry of Finance, Board of Inland Revenue, Hyatt, and ETEC and UDICAT? One, we know for sure that no audits has ever been done into how this hotel stock has been operating, so we can't really see exactly what's going on, or no lessons to be learned that could guide us in negotiating with Sandals or whoever it may be. So I think we should also keep our eyes focused on Sandals, but it may be other hoteliers or other international chains that may want to come on board. But we have no lessons learned into going forward, into how we treat with the issues that we have now, and going forward, how we tweak those issues to be able to negotiate better with other hoteliers who want to come to the country. And like I mentioned earlier, the hotels are managed by separate entities, but they don't seem to talk to one another officially or share information officially. When you send FOI requests to public authorities that we are faced with, it seems that the first point of call is to deny the request. That's the first point of call. That they'll come in one time and deny the request to you. So you'll have to keep prodding and prodding and prodding, like pulling teeth to try to get the information out of them. And there seems to be a reluctance by the state, now I'll lump all of them as the state because they're all the state, to be able to provide data on the performance of hotel stocks and lessons learned to guide us going forward in negotiations with whichever international hotel chain we want to negotiate with. I think my time is now officially 9 seconds up. So with that, I thank you very much, and I'll pass it on now to the resident Tobagonian on the panel. Can you say it was an Trinidadian talking? No, we have a Tobagonian here, and he's going to go now into some more details regarding the whole idea of these hotels and how it works forward. So I pass it on to you now, David.